Hello, my scrappy friends. Jen here with a how to kill a kit with style video for you today. It is the March hop, which means that we have all of our scrappers kind of hopping along. We're all putting out a video today, so it gives you an opportunity to spend some time kind of hopping through some links, hopefully getting lots of inspiration on building kits and putting kits together and then using them up. But also maybe you discover somebody new that you haven't seen before, which is always really fun. If that is the case for me and you are here because you've hopped in from somebody else, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to check it out and join us and see what's going on. I really appreciate that. Click the subscribe button if you want to keep seeing stuff from me. I love that, and I am super appreciative of it. But yeah, if you are brand new and you don't know what How to Kill a Kit with Style is, this is a series, probably one of the longest running series that exists right now in the scrapbooking industry. We've got a few that are really, you know, in their OG series, and this is one of them. Essentially, we build kits every month based off of different things. Sometimes there's themes. The last couple of years I've been running with different themes to kind of help people figure out how to pick their kits. Sometimes we just throw some stuff together because we think it looks good. We build that kit, we use it for the month, kind of kill it, that's where the title comes from, and then share it with you guys, how we've put it together and how we're using up all of those supplies to get them used up. The goal at the end of the day, no matter what, is to just get our supplies used up onto layouts, into projects, into our albums, and, you know, get things scrapped. We're very flexible, so if you are a content creator, if you create on Instagram, Facebook, or here on YouTube, on TikTok, wherever, and you want to participate, you are welcome to do that. Let me know down below, or find us on Facebook in the How to Kill a Kit with Style group, and you are welcome to join that and put out content. We're super flexible. We just really like people to participate. So if you can only commit every second month, that's fine. If you already build kits and you just want to, you know, incorporate some of our themes or whatever into what you're already doing, that's also fine. Whatever works for you works for us. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, or find me on Facebook and we can talk. But yeah, that's essentially what we're doing. And then every couple of months we like to all kind of come together. We do our own thing all month long and kind of release as we go. But every couple of months it's nice to come together and do a larger hop, reintroduce ourselves, you know, connect that way through a hop where you guys have an actual list. We usually work with a playlist, a master playlist, which is linked down below in the description box, but occasionally it's nice to have a list where you can hop through in that more traditional sense and see what's going on. So for the month of March, the theme is selfie, and so take that in whichever way you want. You can pull out a bunch of selfies that you've sort of been sitting on. Maybe you find it harder to scrap selfies, especially ourselves. Sometimes we find it hard to scrapbook about ourselves. So pull all of those photos out, and then using those photos, you can build a kit to kind of work with those particular pictures. Maybe you are holding on to product that lends itself to more of a selfie vibe. You know, all of those bits and pieces that say things like, you know, you can do it, and inspirational little messages and stuff. There is a lot of stuff within the industry that kind of lends itself to a selfie vibe. So maybe you're holding on to that and you just want to pull all of that out and build some kits around that. Honestly, you can take the theme anywhere you want to go with it. And so hopefully you get lots of fun inspiration for today's hop, and you can hop through some of the others that are joining in and see how they're working with that selfie theme and have built their kits and what their projects are going to be. The other thing that I'm working with today, and you might see this running through the hop, is the 30 days of sketches sketch for today, so the 19th, which is this sketch here created by Holly, and you will see her name in this hop too, or her channel. Ivy Cole is her channel, but this is her sketch, and she's up for day 19 on 30 days of sketches. The links are in the description. Don't worry if you want to try to find that and start following that along too. Let me tell you about my kit and then what I'm going to do for the rest of this video. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of chatty right now in real time, and then I might go ahead and once I'm actually creating my layout, just speed that portion up. I am using the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Lavender Fields collection. So Simple Stories has been putting out seasonal, simple vintage collections. They're all kind of part of that larger collection, and then they have different themes to them. So this one is the Lavender Fields. I'm just showing you here the I guess cover for the collection kit, but I have a ton more stuff in my little collection bag here, just a 31 bag that I kind of have my kit sitting in. So let me show you kind of the meat of this kit, and then I think what I want to do is actually pull from this larger kit a page kit that will work with a selfie. All right. So I've just thrown everything in here to keep it together a little bit better. But what I have is pretty much all of the collection. I think everything from Lavender Fields. All of this is design team product from Scrapshots. So also Scrapshots store link will be down below. We have a Facebook group too that you can come and join in, and a Facebook page where new announcements and products and lives and stuff all kind of take place from. But the store is in the link down below. So Lavender Fields is in there. Tons of new stuff coming out for spring. Please go and check them out. But here is what is in this kit collection. So the 12 by 12 collection kit comes with the 12 by 12 papers. It also comes with the different cut apart sheets as part of the papers and the stickers. And wait until you see what they're doing with the stickers now. They've changed the texture of them a little bit. They're really nice. So here are the papers. I also have in this stack just the extra pack that is the, what do they call them? The basics kit is in here too. I put it all into one page protector, but I have both in here. So here's a cut apart sheet, and while I'm going through all this to kind of show you the kit, I'm also gonna look and see if anything fits as something very selfie. So for example, this says life is sweet with you. I would think of that more as something where I may be taking a picture of myself and someone else, or taking a picture of all of my kids together. So while it's super pretty, I don't necessarily think it screams selfie. So I'm looking for selfie stuff. Gather the sweetness of every day, that could potentially work. Because I have this sketch to work off of, the other thing that I'm kind of looking for is I don't know if I'm going to find 4 selfies to have 4 individual pictures, but I might find 1 or 2 selfies, and then I could use an element like this to fill in the space of some of the other pictures. So that's kind of in my head as well. So we've got that. Look at how gorgeous that is. This is why I thought that this collection would work well as a selfie, and I'm working on it because I have some design team obligations, but also I feel like these beautiful flowers really speak to me, and I'm loving how feminine they are, and I'm loving the purple, and so that works well with the theme of selfie because you want to be creating layouts that speak to you if the selfies that you're using are of yourself. So, you know, I'm kind of loving this, but Let me keep going because I don't know if I want to sacrifice any of these. Probably the bicycle. I'm not a bicycle person. I struggle with bicycles. So like this whole section here, I could maybe cut that out to use this. So pop it to the side for a second. Here is the next one. Let's see. Sweet as honey, honey and sunshine, lavender and light. Beautiful could just work. Not that I want to necessarily call myself beautiful, but I think that this is the kind of thing that works well with selfies. You could see how you could actually cut that apart and make this a embellishment if you wanted. Be happy, be kind, be humble. That could also work with a selfie thing if you're kind of doing like a advice to yourself. Definitely that could work. And these are the right size to maybe take the place of a picture instead of to take a place of a picture if I don't have enough of them. So I'm going to keep this page out and probably pop it into my kit. So let's put that to this side. Here are a bunch of different cut apart elements, and I love the journal elements. Let's see, Stay Golden, Just Be You, love this. The Just Be You could definitely work. My Favorite Things could definitely work in the selfie. Beautiful Memories, Wonderful, Dreamer, all of those work. Grateful for Today definitely works. I don't know if I want to use the length of these, so I might actually not use this one, but I think there are lots of elements that you could pull out that kind of work with a selfie. And I love this. It is not black. It might look black on camera, and I think it reads in place of a black, but it's not a true black. It's like a brown, a very, very dark, dark brown. It's really beautiful. Okay, I'm going to skip both of these. I think we'll find enough in the rest of this. You know, You Make Me Happy, Life is Sweet with You, all of those to me feel like something you would use towards someone else. But look at how beautiful these florals are. So obviously any of these could work in place of a photo as well if you wanted to do tags all along instead of more of that like Polaroid photo feel. You could do something like that. They've got stuff on the back too, which I really love when they add these pages. I think they do them for all the collections now. I'm gonna skip that. I have another idea for that. Yellow is quite beautiful. This makes me think of my mom. My mom was definitely a teen in the 70s, and I just, you know, have a lot of her pictures. She's got this yellow. This was actually her wedding color. This like yellow, all her bridesmaids were in this. So I might do something with my mom with this paper in particular. This is fun. You could cut that element out if you wanted to. But I think I'm going to leave this to another one. Here's a page that's already done for you. You could definitely use this in kind of a selfie perspective. You could put a photo here and then you could journal a whole bunch about yourself, talk about, you know, where you are in life, talk about what you were doing that day, talk about your favorite things, whatever it is. I think you could definitely do a lot with this. I mean, you could do a lot with this page for any theme, but it would work in a selfie kit quite well. And I love this one. Very like French. That's what that feels like to me, the lavender fields. Okay. Not going to use that today. Here is the bicycle. It definitely has a very Parisian feel to it. This whole collection does. I'm not a bike person. I ride a bike. I like biking in real life. I don't love using it as an element in scrapbooking. I don't know. I find it hard to do. This one's very pretty, but I'm going to put this all to the side. The honey. I love the honey and I love the bees. I don't know. Do I do like a bee? Maybe I could do something bee related about being myself. So maybe I will hold on to this one and put it over here. Here is the lavender. This might be a good layering piece because that sketch has lots of torn layers, and I like that this reads as a solid with a little bit of detail to it. So I think I am actually going to put this one in my kit. This one looks like little Polaroids, so the obvious thing would be, if you couldn't find 4 pictures, you could fussy cut out a couple of these. So if you had 1 selfie and then 3 of these, that could definitely work. If you were doing some sort of travel selfie layout, so you have yourself and then you have some sort of scenery in the background, then you could cut out this one and this one. And even, is there a third one? Yes, this one is different. So there's 3 different scenes here. This one, and this one. You could cut those out and they would almost be like 3 other photos that you'd taken. So that's kind of a nice idea. And then you've got these little wreaths. I might come back to that. We'll see. Again, I haven't actually found the photo, so I don't want to commit myself to that one yet, but I like the idea. I definitely have some pictures that are travel photos of me with a selfie. I like this with the little bee on it, and I bet I can probably find this in the embellishments. So I'm going to hold off on that one. This one almost already has a feeling of the tearing because it's got the corner. It's the opposite corners. But you could tear around this and tear around this and then pop that as the top layers of the torn elements. Holly's goes this way, but you could make them go that way instead and then tuck some layers in behind. I might do that. I might, because, oh yeah, because here's the honeycomb on the other side. If we're kind of going with the bee theme, whatever's left over in this middle section, I could actually tear up to be another layer with the honeycomb. So I would have sort of like a lavender, yeah. I would have a lavender layer, I would have a honeycomb layer, and then maybe it could go like this. Little bees, then lavender, then some honeycomb, and then sitting right on top of it would be this layer. So that could work. I'm gonna do all 3 of those. All right. There are some papers. Here's the stickers. So they're a little bit more matte feeling than glossy, which I love. They are perforated here so you can tuck them in and use them kind of like 2 6x12 pieces if you want. They always come with lots of words, and let's see. So we've got, this has me buzzing with joy. That is referring to myself, so that could be a selfie thing. And then you could do the lessons, life lessons. You could do like always be kind. Is there another like life lesson one? Enjoy the moment. Always be kind, enjoy the moment. Remember, that kind of thing. So there is some words here that could be selfie-ish. The best day would work. Some of these little stickers could work. So, okay, we'll keep the stickers with the kit. Here is the basics. So I need a background. And I'm thinking I'm gonna go with a light background. I'm missing one. Here we go. So based off of what I've chosen, green would be the contrasting color because there's lots of yellow, lots of purple. That's definitely one look. Or the other one that I'm leaning towards is the cream. Just because it's a nice background, like a nice plain background. But I think I'm gonna go with the green. I think I'm gonna go with the contrast. Just so that everything that's sitting on top of the screen really pops. So I'm going with green. All right, so all of that is the papers in my kit. And these are all just gonna go back. They're kind of the larger kit that I'm working with. So there are more videos to be had with all of this that you can definitely check out. And then I have the stickers and I have this cut apart piece just in case I want to add some of that instead of 4 selfies. So we'll put these papers back. The next thing I have in my kit that I'm not gonna open up, but I'm gonna show you, I do have these 2 page kits that I will be putting together. I'll probably do one in real time just because people do like to see how page kits come together. And then I also have the card kit that I will put together with you guys too, so you can kind of see what's in these kits and how they really do come together very, very quickly. And then I will show you a project that I do with them. If you're not a card person and don't necessarily want to send these as cards, what else can you do with them? I will show you. So those are both in my kit. We're just not going to take elements from them for my page kit for today. Then we get into all of the embellishments, and there are a lot. So let's start with these 2 guys, 3 guys actually. I have the cardstock basics stickers. So these are not the ones that are in the collection kit. These ones have that same texture to them that they've changed a little bit. They're not that hyper glossy kind of feel, but these are the basics. So it's a lot of tags, little strips, things that you can use to add a little bit of wording, titles, that kind of stuff. Just basic shapes that come from the collection or that are useful for layering and embellishing. So you've got some hearts and stuff. And then over here, more little words, more little tags and titles that you can pop in all down here. Really nice. So let's see here. We've got buzzing with happiness, golden sweet memories. Oh, be happy, be kind, be humble. Again, that is something that you could definitely use. Anything is possible, beautiful moments. Be happy. So you could have that recurring theme of like be happy, and then it's here too, be happy, and then it's in some of the other things we've pulled out, so that could work. So I think I am gonna keep these stickers with the kit. These foam titles, do they call them foam titles? Yeah, foam stickers, I guess. They work really good as large titles because there's some big ones like this beautiful. Am I the only one that struggles to use the word beautiful when I'm doing a selfie? I feel like I'm too self-deprecating for that, but you know, it's big and it could work. There's also like dreamer. Here it is again, be happy, be kind, be humble, be bright, they've added. Yeah, beauty and light, buzzing with happiness could work. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna keep those 2. They also bring in a different texture. This is the exact same set right here that you can see. So I don't need to have both of those, but I wanted to show you, you can get them separate or you can get them in the collection, the paper collection. So I'm gonna put those to the side. I have the chipboard pieces. So doing a quick flip on the back, you can see there's tons of pieces here. And again, let's see, anything is possible could work. Things like sunny days, that kind of stuff could also work. Sunshine, there's little bees in here that might be cute that I could go ahead and pull from, and there's some florals. So I think I will keep this out. There's also some staples like hearts and then the little hexagon. So if you wanted to use that image in paper, in sticker, in chipboard, you could just repeat those same shapes, but in all the elements. So I'm gonna keep those out. I'm gonna keep the enamel dots out. These are the journal bits. So here again, there's gonna be some, like this square here, that you could use in replace of a photo. And then again, there's some of those elements that are really good for layering and tucking. Here there's like just be you. Yeah, I think I might keep these out too. And I could pull some out if we need some layering. Life is sweet, loving life, always be happy. So we'll keep that one out. The decorative brads, just because they're nice little embellishment elements. This one is the bits and pieces, and it's just a lot of different images. So, I mean, there's no harm in keeping it all out. It's gonna be too much stuff. There's definitely gonna be too much stuff. But, you know, it's nice to have a little variety of different textures and stuff to pick from. So, oh, see, like this would be good. It's good for your kids, but it could also be good for you if you wanted. A little wild and a lot sweet. There's just, you know, like be happy again. Sweet little moments. You are amazing. I don't know if I'm not going to put you are amazing on my own selfie, but you know, there's little things here. So I'll throw that in. I have the page pieces. So this is to basically put together one page or like a 2-page layout. It's just pieces that you can do. They give you a suggestion. So if you already have the basics and you have some of the elements, or you have some scraps left over, this is how you could use these elements. So they're just a little bit larger, and they essentially give you the ability to do something like this. You don't have to do that exact thing. But life is sweet could work. Yeah, so I'm probably not going to use these, but they are there. This is great if you're going to a crop and you just want to take a couple things. You don't want to have a ton of choice like this is ending up being. Just grab something like this. Then you're limited to what you have available, and you can put a page together really quickly. Here are some rub-ons. I'm not sure with all this other stuff going on that I'm going to have space for rub-ons, but I do see those reoccurring things. Be humble is one of them. Those are be happy, bloom and be happy, that could work. So, you know, again, the repeating, the hearts and the hexagons. So you could create a really nice background with this. I have all patterns, so this might not read as well in my patterns, but we'll see. I could come back to it and do a little, you know, rubbing, but I'm not gonna pick them right now. And then the last thing, I have the floral bits. So these are just all beautiful florals. And I am not going to put these in my kit because I think I have enough with this stuff and the different patterns going on. And there are some florals in this other stuff, so I think I'll leave this to one where I can feature them as florals a little bit more. And then I also have the 6x8 paper pad. This is perfect because it is the papers, the larger papers in small form. But then they do throw some of this stuff in, like what a beautiful title page. Bloom and be happy. And that would work well as an album that was about yourself. That would be a nice title. And then you can see all of the patterns repeating. So I don't think I need any of these patterns. There's that same paper. Smaller tags, which are lovely to cut out. And you get 2 of each. You get this version, I guess, of the journaling bits, which is nice. So yeah, I don't need any of these, but I do love how they do their 6x8 papers. All right, so that is my big kit, and here is my smaller kit. So I've got some different die cuts that I can pull from. I have embellishments in the form of brads, chipboard, enamel dots, puffy stickers or foam stickers, and flat stickers. And then I have my background paper, and I have my patterned papers that I'm going to use. Then I have my piece that I may pick from, because I don't think I'm gonna have 4 selfies, so I might go ahead and pick a couple of, like maybe this one and this one and one of the other ones, we'll see. Do 1 selfie and then these instead. So I might not always pull this much paper, but in this case, I think I need these as elements that can stand in the place of photos. So background, patterns, extra photos, all of my embellishments, and now I just need my pictures, my selfie. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably voice this over just so I can speed it up a little bit. Now we're rolling into a voiceover. Okay, welcome to the voiceover portion of this video. So here I am just putting the layout together, and I'm going to start by doing all of my tearing and kind of getting my design put together. I'm working with the sketch, but I also realized because I want to use this particular element, everything is going to be a little bit reversed. So where Holly has hers kind of going a little bit more horizontal and having her layers in the top right and the bottom left, I'm switching that up because obviously if I want this design, I have to work with the way that this design is oriented. The other thing that I'm doing here that you might be thinking to yourself, Jen, why are you making this harder than you have to? Is I'm being a little bit stingy with my papers because this is the first layout that I'm creating with this collection. I'm conserving things probably a little bit more than I need to, just because I don't know what is coming in the future. I know that I want to try to get as many layouts as possible, and so I'm being a little bit stingy and trying not to be too wasteful with any of the papers, any of the patterns, especially these 12 by 12 papers, because you only get one of each pattern in that collection kit. So I'm making more work for myself than I really need to. If you don't need to try to hoard every little scrap of your collection, you don't have to do this. If you have full pages that you're working with, you could literally just tear your kind of triangles in larger and larger triangles and build from, the bottom layer up. So you're going to, tear your largest triangle right almost dead through the paper, and put that down with the corner matched up to your background corner, and then tear your next one and tear your next one until you have all the layers that you want. Definitely do that. The other thing you could do is, if you notice, for my sort of, I guess, bottom 2 strips, I had to paper piece a little end on there because I didn't want to tear through the middle of my papers. So with that being said, if you wanted to do a layout like this where you just use scraps and kind of had to piece bits of it together, you could definitely do that too. Nobody knows what's going on underneath the layers, and anywhere that you feel like there's a seam that just is sticking out a little bit too much and you don't like, where you maybe had to piece 2 pieces of a pattern together or whatever it is, you can throw an embellishment on there. Everything is the potential for an embellishment cluster. There is always something you can do to kind of hide it. I never want to call those imperfections because honestly, we're playing with paper and these are handmade layouts. I think it's okay to have an element of handmaidedness. I'm making that word up. That doesn't actually exist. But you know what I mean. The feeling of something being handmade means that there is subtle little imperfections that you see because we're just working with what we have, and we're doing our best. So if you don't like that, and you don't care to have to save specific patterns or anything, take the easy way out. Just rip your pages as you need to in the size of, full triangle that you need to. But I was definitely being conservative, because who knows? And honestly, I do this every time my first layout. I'm always like, oh, I don't want to use up all my supplies. And then I create a few other layouts and realize I haven't touched most of them because I'm being too conservative. But it's time for me to move on to a new collection, and so I just have a lot of stuff in my stash. So I should probably learn and just create the way my heart wants to create. That is the lesson that I'm sharing with you. Do as I say, not as I do. But definitely, if you don't need to kind of save some of those patterns, by all means, tear right through your pages, use them all up, build your layers in a way that is definitely an easier thing to do. But however you put them together, I think the main thing when you're creating layers like this is to have alternating patterns with something that looks more solid, and contrasting colors. So I made sure that my purple is in between those two lighter patterns, just because that purple makes the lighter pattern on top of it stand out a little bit more. So you don't want to have really busy pattern on top of really busy pattern with all essentially the same colors. Then your eye isn't taking in exactly what each of those patterns are. The little white core of the paper that you kind of see as the tear definitely helps to differentiate the patterns. If you weren't tearing your paper, another thing you could do is ink your edges. That helps to make them pop a little bit from each other, or do some sketchy lines, kind of to outline your edges. There's lots of things like that you can do, but definitely play around with the patterns and the colors to look for things that will complement each other and accentuate each other when you have busy patterns, rather than all kind of blending together into this mishmash that your eye can't really see. And lots of people do pattern layering, so definitely if you need some inspiration or you're still not sure after my quick explanation, I have lots of videos where I talk about layering my patterns, and so do other scrappers. So you will definitely find the inspiration there. So I started out with my pictures kind of in the way that I thought I wanted them to go, just like Holly's sketch. I wasn't loving it. I don't know. There was just something about it. Now that I'm looking back and watching the video, I think it looked fantastic. But in the moment, it wasn't speaking to me. And so I decided to switch it up a little bit. And I think it's because Holly has a very horizontal sketch. Everything reads like it's flowing right across the page. And mine isn't flowing in that horizontal. It's much more diagonal. So I felt like I needed to take my pictures in a more diagonal way as well. And so I pulled one of those cards out. I'm going to use it as an embellishment cluster down here in that bottom where I'm working on it right now. And then the other two, I kind of made this diagonal cluster for my photo to sit on. Then the other thing I did while I was talking about layers is I went through all the different embellishment products that I pulled out. So the die cut packs, the chipboard, here is the foam stickers, everything that I pulled out. I wanted to make sure that I had each one of those types of elements represented in my layout. And I just made little clusters with, similar things in all the different textures to build my tiny little clusters, which in this case, because there's so much pattern, they're just little tiny bits and bobs that I felt like added a little bit of accent to each of the clusters that I put in. And then to finish it, I'm going to add a few splatters in black and in gold. And that's it. It was complicated in the sense that I did a lot of tearing and preparation to kind of get it all in place. But once all the elements started to come together, you can see here, it's very simple, very basic. I plonked things down where my heart told me I needed to. I used lots of little words and phrases that I thought kind of reflected the mood of the selfie. And that is my layout. And I think it turned out really sweet. I love it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you don't already. Hop through everyone else who's joining us today. Check out the Scrapshot store for all of these goodies and more. And I will talk to you again soon. So until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.